Welcome to the Philip Koerper Show. I am Philip Koerper. Hope you guys are having a great day. This is podcast 47, October 9th, 2018. Oh, got a good show for you. I love it. My latest thing I think I've mentioned is that I've turned on Twitter notifications on for just one person, at Real Donald Trump. So when the Donald tweets, I get a message right to my phone, and it goes. I have notifications on my watch. It goes right to my watch. Oh, it's really awesome. And so I know what Donald is up to. I know what he's tweeting. I love it. I feel like I'm in touch with the world. I'm in touch with the most powerful man in the world. Oh, it makes me feel very good and really powerful. We're going to talk about power here. Hillary Clinton talked about power. I'm going to get to that in a moment. I don't know. I got a tweet yesterday evening, and guess what? Whitehouse.gov, and it was their video capture of the Donald. I guess in the East Room. I'm not quite sure where they are in the White House. It looks like they only invited friendlies in to this swearing in. It was the ceremony of the swearing in of Brett Kavanaugh by Anthony Kennedy. Really cool. So Anthony Kennedy walks up with the Donald, Brett Kavanaugh, and it was great. It was great. And all of the Supreme Court justices were there. And they were all lined up, sitting right facing the middle of the room, right kind of beside the podium. But they were set in chairs so we could see them from a camera off to Donald's left. Oh, I loved it. I checked a few other news sources. I don't know if they had cameras over to Donald's left of the podium or not. I don't know. But that camera allowed us to see the justices, okay? And first of all, RBG, I mean, I'm not quite sure what's wrong with her, but she was kind of slouched over through most of the stuff. She had gloves on, I think, and she just barely applauded for anything. But this was wonderful. And what did the Donald do? He said, I'm going to do something that's probably never been done before. I am going to apologize for this basically smear campaign. He talked about he was sorry. He apologized to Brett and Ashley about how the hearings were so I forgot the words that he used, but that they were basically a smear campaign, and that Brett Kavanaugh was innocent. Of course, there's huge uproar. Oh, he's not innocent. Oh, he's not innocent. Okay, well, he's either guilty or not guilty of these accusations for these three women. The second and third are completely preposterous. Even the left is blaming Kavanaugh for his crazy stories that he feeds the press, and for the press to publicize it. And so even Christine Blasey Ford's story, most Americans do not believe her story. I know when she told it, it was really compelling. I listened to her story initially, and I'm like, whoa, this is really emotional. People are going to latch on to this thing. If it's true or not true, they're going to latch on to this. But of course, the left just used her story, just dragged her into this thing, leaked her letter, and then she has these accusations, but they cannot be proven. Even her four witnesses deny that any attack occurred. So anyhow, so the Donald was in rare form, and I'm glad he apologized. And it's interesting when you can see the clapping. So there was clapping throughout the Donald speech and Brett Kavanaugh. And you can see that we pretend that the justices of the Supreme Court are not partisan at all, that they interpret the Constitution as they should, that they don't legislate from the bench. Okay, this is such lies. Okay, we know. And Clarence Thomas is the biggest at clapping for Donald. Oh, I loved it. He is such a conservative. He is such a constitutionalist, someone who really interprets the Constitution as it was written, as it was approved. So it was great. It was really wonderful to watch this ceremony and Justice Anthony Kennedy swear Brett Kavanaugh in. I like it how he puts his hand on the Bible, and I liked how the other justices were there. And Brett Kavanaugh gave a great talk about being a part of the team by being non-biased in his judgment, to be a good judge. And he really tried to be a really good judge. And I love that. And Donald was really fair with his remarks in saying this is an important responsibility. We have the power. The Republicans were winning. We do have the power now. We have the power of the office of the presidency with Donald Trump being a great Republican. Some people say he's not a very good Republican. I think he's a great Republican. I'm getting what I want out of the Republican Party. I am getting small government stuff. I'm getting cuts in taxes. I am getting a stronger military. I'm getting better border security. Okay, I am getting less regulations and more job growth. I'm getting great trade deals. I mean, I feel like I'm winning. This reminds me of this nurse I was talking to today, and I asked her. We were talking about the presidency, and she didn't feel very connected. She goes, "How did this billionaire guy really care about me?" And I go, "Well, he does. He does care about you. He cares about all Americans." And so and she's like, "Well, how?" And I'm like, "Well, he cut our taxes." And she goes, "Well, he cut your taxes. You know, he probably cut your taxes a lot." And I go, "Well, I pay a lot in taxes, and it was a nice tax cut. I mean, I love that. Okay, it was great." I go, "He cut your taxes. Didn't you notice?" And she goes, like, "When did this happen?" I go, "Well, last year." "Oh, I don't really look at that closely." I mean, this is I think the problem that we have in communicating these things to everybody. And this is why Donald is really good at tweeting and going over things. I mean, this is why it was really good that during that rally, they said he mocked Christine Blasey Ford. He did not mock her. He was talking about her lack of facts. Americans don't even know about this stuff. Okay, many people, many of my friends do not look at news as much as I do. I'm a little bit addicted to it, I know. But these things are not trickling down into their thing. And they're not going to get this from the mainstream media. They're not going to get this from Hollywood. Their kids aren't going to learn about this in school. So many of these people, you think a paycheck that they would see it there. But people are busy and they're raising their families. So I love how the Donald will repeat things. And I like how he gets things out in Twitter. Things like his tax cut. He was really verbose about that on the internet, and I thought that was really good. He needs to do that. We need to get our message across that the Republicans, we are cutting people's taxes. We are making things better. We've got a great economy. We're improving that economy. Stock market's gone up. I mean, a lot of people in middle America they don't have stocks or bonds. They don't know about these things. So I think we need to keep repeating that. So anyhow, the Donald was great in this swearing-in ceremony. It was wonderful. The justices are biased. You could see the conservative justices clapping for some things. Sometimes they all clapped. Sometimes just a few of them clapped. And many times you could see the clapping only amongst the conservative judges and not the liberal ones. Okay, so they are biased. We know that. The president gets to pick who goes to the Supreme Court, and the Senate gets to say yay or nay to that pick. That's how it works. And if you're the party in power in the Senate, then you get to pick. Yeah, I did double check. John Tyler is he has the record, for nominees. He had 2 seats to fill. One, it seems like he filled pretty easily, it looked like. The other one, 4 nominees sent to the Senate. They didn't act on any of them. Nope, no go. No, didn't work. They couldn't get him in. So sometimes the Senate just goes, we're going to just wait for the next president. This is what Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden said to a Republican president, that they were going to wait for the election. And this is what Mitch McConnell did with Merrick Garland. He just waited for the election. That's what the Senate can do. So anyhow, I love it. So Donald was great. Brett Kavanaugh gave a great talk. And we'll see. Some people say the Democrats are not going to let this go. They're going to just continue to whine and fuss about this. There were very few protesters today at the Supreme Court. Brett Kavanaugh is in the robes, and he's on the bench. It's great. It's wonderful. What a huge victory for Donald Trump. What a huge victory for the United States. I'm so excited. I hope Brett Kavanaugh looks at Clarence Thomas's rulings and agrees with his. I love Clarence Thomas's rulings. He is, I think, the best judge that we have. Okay, Hillary Clinton. Oh, she is going to talk about civility. This is really super fascinating. So she did an interview today with, guess what news organization? Just guess, CNN. Yeah, that's okay. She can pick that. And she said that it's impossible to be civil with a party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about. This is a Breitbart article. She continued that if the Democrats can win back one or both chambers, that's when civility can start again. She said, you cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about. That's why I believe if we are fortunate enough to win back the House or the Senate, that's when civility can start again. But until then, the only thing the Republicans seem to recognize and respect is strength. So what is Hillary Clinton talking about here? Strength. What, strength in yelling and screaming at Republican senators? That girl who was dancing in front of that elderly guy with pro-Kavanaugh posters who tore him down. Apparently she was arrested. I mean, is that strength? You yell and scream and you tear people's posters up? Or you bash on cars? Antifa today was bashing cars in Portland, Oregon, broad daylight. What? I like when Donald says law and order. What is going on here? This is just craziness. Is this what Hillary's talking about? This lack of civility? This yelling and screaming? This protesting with pink hats? Taking your clothes off and protesting? I mean, really? Yelling and, mocking the Republicans on Saturday Night Live, but not the Democrats? Really? So what is she talking about? I guess no civility? Oh, Ted Cruz can't sit down with his wife and had dinner. You know what the rest of the story with that story in D.C., Ted Cruz and his wife, the protesters came in. The owner of the restaurant went out and invited him and come in through the back door. The protesters were arrested and kicked off, and then they actually had dinner there because Ted Cruz's wife thought it was a nice place. I mean, did you know that? Did you know that occurred? No, you probably didn't know that. I didn't know it until a friend told me. No, the major media is not going to side with the Republicans, okay? That's going to be very rare. So I don't know why Hillary Clinton she is proposing uncivility for the Democrats. Oh, until they get back in power, uncivility. I love how Donald's calling them out on the mob rule. His tweet about you don't give matches to an arsonist and we don't give the power to the Democrats now because it's mob rule. Aren't you glad we don't live in a democracy? We don't. We live in a representative republic. So the mob rule, even it's over 50%, the mob is not allowed to take the rights away from other people. If we have over 50% of Americans and say, oh, I'm so poor, I want Bill Gates' money. Oh yeah, let's go all take Bill Gates' money. No, we don't have this pure democracy where people can go crazy like that. The founding fathers were very worried about mob rule. And they set forth the Constitution to protect the minority from the majority. But the majority party that wins the Senate or the House of Representatives or the presidency, that party, they get to rule that place. So it's a winner take all there. But the minority is protected also from the majority in the fact that they have their rights of freedom, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Oh, I just think that's awesome. I love how this country was founded. This experiment continues to work so well. The United States is the greatest country on earth. Thank goodness for Christopher Columbus, that Italian, that guy who had all that courage to sail right off the edge of the earth and find America. Oh, thank you, Christopher Columbus. I know Columbus, Ohio won't celebrate you anymore. They're embarrassed about their name and they want to call it Indigenous Peoples Day. Okay. Yeah, the Indians here before, I mean, I'm sure they had great civilizations, but they also had their problems. But, you know, there was European immigration to the United States and we conquered this land. Like the Native Americans conquered other people before them. They conquered each other's tribes. The Aztecs killed many thousands of people and sacrificed them. So there's been a lot going on and civilizations tend to come and go. I'm so grateful for Christopher Columbus. I think he was inspired. The Book of Mormon even refers to him. There's an allusion and I think a reference that most people would agree to, that it refers to Christopher Columbus coming across the waters, being inspired by God to discover this country, discover this land. It's awesome. So kudos to Christopher Columbus. And no kudos to Hillary Clinton for talking about she's going to be so uncivil. See, the Democrat leaders, people like Maxine Waters and HRC, I mean, Chuck Schumer, no one is speaking out on this uncivility. Schumer did speak out to Maxine Waters. We're not going to talk about impeaching anymore. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer know this is a losing cause. Yeah. So I love it. I love it. And I think Donald's really calling them out on it. Okay. They're a mob. They're acting like a mob. Okay. We're not going to give power to a mob. The Democrats are acting like a mob. Their leaders are encouraging it. Who cares if they're paying them or whatever? These people who don't seem to work and they just go protest, or like professional protesters with professional signs. But they they are associating themselves with the Democrat Party, and the Democrat leaders are not calling them out on it. Donald mentioned yesterday, I think a lot of Democrats are going to vote Republican in 2018. This happened in 2016. This happened here. I've mentioned it many, many times that Pike County, Kentucky is 73% Democrat, and 80%, 81% of the people of the vote voted for Donald Trump. Okay, so Democrats are voting Republican, and Donald Trump is really good at reaching out to these middle class people and restoring the coal industry, restoring manufacturing, adjusting, getting rid of NAFTA, and making new deals with Canada and Mexico. Oh, this is huge. This is really huge. Even the left knows that this is huge. Even the lefts can see manufacturing coming back to the United States. And with China, spying on us and stealing our technology and putting little chips into our electronics, Oh my heavens, okay? No one's going to want to assemble anything in China anymore. We can do it here in the United States. It might cost a little bit of money, but boy, more jobs, awesome. I love this story from the American Spectator by Brandon J. Weichert. It's called The Left's Icarus Syndrome. And this is really a really cool story about how the Democrats really just, they had power. Obama used that power. He went far left. They jammed Obamacare down our throats without one Republican vote. They didn't even try to be bipartisan. They didn't even try to persuade any Republicans. No deals with the Republicans. They had the votes. They had the presidency. They had the Senate. They had the House. And they controlled it. They had the power. And they rammed it through. Okay? And so they did this. And basically, they use their power. Okay? They control academia. They control the pop culture. They've got a lot of young people behind them, the millennials. So they did it. So this article says at least the Obama administration, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton was a shoo-in. Okay, so they thought she was going to win the election. The Democrat Party was akin to the ancient Greek mythological character of Icarus. So in this tale, Icarus and their son, they were stranded, imprisoned on the Isle of Crete. And his father is there. His father is really smart, and with wax and feathers, he made wings for Icarus. But he told Icarus, don't fly too high. You'll get close to the sun, and the wax will melt, and you'll crash. Okay? Don't fly too low, because the sea will mess up your feathers, and you'll crash. Okay? So, of course, young Icarus loves all this freedom, loves this ability to fly. Well, of course, you know the story. He flies too close to the sun. It melts the wax. He crashes into the sea and drowns and dies. Okay. So that's Icarus. And so the left, when they had their power, and so after the Republicans, after we win the presidency, it's like they pretend like they're still in charge. Okay? You saw this in the Senate Judiciary Committee when Chuck Grassley started the hearing with Brett Kavanaugh. The Democrats just start interrupting, asking for this motion, asking for this. No, Chuck Grassley doesn't, no, they're not in power. He's the chairman. These are crazy ideas. They're acting like they're in power. They're not in power. Okay? Now, Chuck Grassley did try his best to coddle the Democrats, to try to please them, to try to be civil, to try to be respectful to Brett Kavanaugh, to let the Democrats ask questions. But anyhow, the Democrats just don't seem to get this, okay? And so they continue to think that they have power, and they ratchet everything up to 11 out of 10, okay? And it's really backfiring. I think these people, these Antifa people, and who are, Donald's tweeting, congratulations to Brett Kavanaugh. Oh, I love it. So I think the left is really just overplaying their hand. 11 out of 10 on everything. They are just going full bore, and I think they're losing a lot of middle America. Okay, well, I'm happy for that. I want the Republicans to win. But the yelling and screaming is crazy. And I think that we can have some good bipartisan stuff. There's no reason why we can't. I want to make this point with Perez. So he is the head of the Democrat Party, the chairman. And so he states that, let me get the quote right. He says that there was mistreatment of Dr. Ford, a mistreatment of a mistreatment of every woman across America. Perez said, when you see the mistreatment of Dr. Ford, that's a mistreatment of every woman across America. Our democracy is on the ballot in 29 days. Our democracy, as we know it, is on the ballot. The assault of the middle class, the assault on the rule of law, the assault of the right to organize, the assault on women, the assault on immigration courts within the Department of Justice. These are an affront to our democracy. I mean, this is complete fake news. I mean, this is so wrong. Assault on the middle class. Let's take that. Oh, unemployment's all-time low. Stock market's doing great. I mean, this is great for the middle class. These coal miners are back at work. Manufacturing's up. The steel industry has been saved by the tariffs. I mean, give me a break. This is no. The assault on the rule of law. Oh, what a minute. We got Antifa just beating up people in cars in Portland, Oregon yesterday in broad daylight. I mean, this is retarded. What is he talking about? The assault of the right to organize. These people, no one's stopping anyone from organizing. You do it peacefully. You do it legally. You can organize. You can protest. You do it by the rules. Assault on women. Who is assaulting women? Who supports assaulting women? Nobody does. Nobody does. Christine Blasey Ford comes out of nowhere in the 11th hour in a hearing of a Supreme Court justice, and she's got no sources. She's got no evidence. She's got mega holes in her story. She lies about flying. She lies about we can't even get the polygraph test. I mean, if she was telling the truth, why can't we get the polygraph tests? Why can't we get her records, her records with her therapist? I mean, what? It's not going to substantiate her story? Oh, is she hiding something? What's going on? I mean, is she just picking and choosing a few things she wants to reveal to us? Remember, the rule of law and fairness in America is that the burden of proof is on Dr. Ford to prove these accusations. Okay? And she could not prove them. Otherwise, she would file with the police in Connecticut. File charges. You can do it. There's no statute of limitations on rape or attempted murder. I mean, good grief. She thought she was going to die. She thought that Brett Kavanaugh was going to kill her. So anyhow, the assault on immigration courts. This is crazy. Oh, Donald's tweeting again. Okay. Oh, he's tweeting about the algae problem in Florida. Oh, I love it. The Donald is so very busy. We're getting our money out of him. Of course, he's going to donate his salary anyhow. I don't know if I mentioned yesterday the Scott Kelly tweet. Scott Kelly's this astronaut, and he's married to the congresswoman who was shot, the Arizona congressman woman, Gabby Giffords. And he was tweeting apparently about, our nation, okay? And he tweeted what he said, he tweeted, one of the greatest leaders of modern times. Okay, by the way, Scott Kelly is a leftist, like Gabby Giffords, or Gabbards, or whatever her name is, Gabby Giffords. One of the greatest leaders of modern time, Scott Kelly tweets, is Sir Winston Churchill. And he said, in victory, magnanimity. I guess those days are over. So I guess to us Republicans, we're really excited about this big win in Brett Kavanaugh, but I guess he thinks we're rubbing it in. I mean, whatever, okay? Maybe we are over-celebrating a little bit. I don't think so. This is huge. I mean, this is a huge victory. President Trump has been relatively restrained with this and very presidential. He's been very presidential. Okay, so now Scott Kelly, people just go off on him, okay, about quoting Winston Churchill because the left has just redone all history. You know, they hate Christopher Columbus. They hate the founding fathers. You know, they're just a bunch of slave owners. I mean, they just hate, and they just want history just to go away, okay, especially when it just play into their thing. No, and so they go after him, and they say, what are you doing quoting Winston Churchill? The guy was a racist. He's terrible. Okay, and so Scott Kelly tweets, did not mean to offend by, okay, he took down the other tweet. And then he said, did not mean to offend by quoting Churchill. My apologies. I will go and educate myself further on his atrocities, racist views, which I do not support. My point was, we need to come together as one nation. We are all Americans. That should transcend partisan politics. Oh, God. This is such a lie. Distraction! No, no, no. He's partisan. He's mad about Brett Kavanaugh. Distraction. Winston Churchill wasn't a racist. The British were still had their colonies. There was a lot of colonialization still going on. It was falling apart. Winston was trying to hold on to it. No racism here. It's like calling FDR a racist. Okay? There was a lot of things going on back in those days in dealing with these different groups of people. Okay? So this is retarded. And, but look at the bullies. Look how the left is such bullies. They bully Scott Kelly in saying this. The left, you cannot disagree with the left. They will freak out. There are some really interesting surveys that say the people on the right, they kind of understand the left and what they think and their motives, okay? But the people on the left don't understand the people on the right. I think this is so true. The left, if they grow up in schools, public schools, they're totally indoctrinated with leftist views. Okay, they're watching CNN and they're totally indoctrinated with leftist views. They go to college and oh my heavens, it gets amped up a bit. Leftist stuff going on. You would not believe what's going on in our colleges and our grad schools in America. Incredible leftist ideas. Unbelievable. Ask your kids if you have them in college. You will find out. And so the left, the media, the Hollywood, it looks like leftism. This is just dominates. So someone like Donald Trump comes along who's different from these left, and they just go below berserk. He's a racist, xenophobic because he's going to build a wall. Okay, I don't know why they call him racist. Supposedly in Charlottesville, he didn't respond. He criticized the white supremacist groups. Oh, he criticized them. This is it's so retarded. He is not a racist. Orrin Hatch says he doesn't have a racist bone in his body. Okay, the niece of MLK, Martin Luther King, she says he's not a racist. Okay, Diamond and Silk say he's not a racist. Candace Owens says he's not a racist. Okay, he's not a racist. This is ridiculous. Okay, they say he's a misogynist, that he hates women. No proof. Give me proof. That's complete lies. And just because we don't side, just because we don't believe Christine Blasey Ford's story makes us a misogynist? What about Juanita Broderick? She accused Bill Clinton of rape. Does everyone just believe her? Do we just believe all survivors? It makes no sense. Okay, it's not logical. So this is really, I think, super retarded. But Scott Kelly gets bullied into kowtowing to them. And it's sad. It's really sad. But I want to end on a very happy note. Oh, no, I do want to mention something before I close with a happy note. I had recently a good friend, and we were talking about abortion. And he asked me this. He goes, you conservatives are so against abortion. We were talking about Brett Kavanaugh and my hopes that this big debate can get out of the Supreme Court where it doesn't belong, and this debate can be in the states where it belongs. Let the states haggle out this abortion thing. It's not a Supreme Court issue, in my opinion, from what I've read. So he goes, you conservatives are so against abortion, but who is going to pay for these unwanted babies? And I said, well, the parents. The parents are going to pay and take care of their babies. That's what parents are supposed to do. And he goes, well, some of these parents, are not going to do this. I go, well, we encourage them to take care of them. We stop welfare. And these fathers need to pay up for their kids and stop impregnating these women and running off and not taking care of their posterity. So I think welfare, we got to make some adjustments with welfare, and then we'll have less of these unwanted babies. And he goes, oh, we're still going to have these unwanted babies, and what you conservatives, what are we going to do? You guys don't want to pay for these abortions. So what are we going to do with all these babies? I think this really gets to the issue with the liberals and the leftists on abortion. They love socialism and these big ideas and paying the government paying for everything for us, right? Well, this won't work if there's just too many people. There's not enough money. Bernard Sanders has this problem with immigration. He's pretty much, you look back at his history, he's against illegal aliens. He really is. And the reason is because his big Medicare for all and all this socialism that he loves, it doesn't scale. There won't be enough money for all of this stuff if we got all these people plowing into our country illegally. Okay? Doesn't work. So yes, I mean, the socialists, the leftists, they're just so selfish. And they want the government to pay for everything, but they don't want too many people. They don't want to pay for them themselves through these unwanted babies, through charities. I also told my friend about adoption. There are many, many couples in America, thousands, tens of thousands of couples who are desperate to adopt babies, but they're being aborted, and so there are very few babies to adopt. This is why many people go outside the country to adopt, because they can't find babies here in America to adopt. No, not with abortion, and also with the single parent moms, the single parent families raising these babies out of wedlock on their own with government help. Oh, see, government help. Oh, the government. Oh, we are really messing this up. We give all this welfare stuff to these single parents, these single moms, and they continue to have babies so they can get more welfare money. Oh, this is really bad. Okay, so the incentives are there for babies out of wedlock. There are incentives there for the father to just run off, and there are incentives there for us, the taxpayer, to be the father of these babies and to pay for them. Okay, so my solution is not killing babies, which is morally wrong. Okay, everyone knows killing babies is wrong. Unborn baby killing is wrong. And if you don't believe it's wrong, just talk to someone who's gone through that. Okay, I have, and they feel terrible because they know they've done something horrific. A mother will do anything to protect her little chicks. And so very, very sad and very bad. And I hope that we can do whatever we can to decrease the amount of abortions in this country. It is crazy. It's just awful. It's a huge evil. And let the Supreme Court push it back to the states and let the states decide. So if you want to kill your baby, you can just go to California and kill it there. And the liberals have tons of money and they'll fly you to California so that you can kill your baby. Don't make taxpayers pay for the baby killing. This is such a horrific thing to force us to do. You force us. You take our money away from us. Our taxes by gunpoint. If I don't pay my taxes, people with guns will come and take me away. And you force it, and we have to kill these unborn babies. It's terrible. So there are people there for adoption, and there are charities who can help with these unwanted children. There are charities. So there are ways to help solve this problem without using abortion to do it. Yeah, follow the money. They like abortion because they don't want to pay for these unwanted children. Oh, it's just so egregious. Okay, I want to close on a better note. Aaron Cummings quote, I love it. At the end of the day, you are solely responsible for your success and your failure. And the sooner you realize that, you accept that, and integrate that into your work ethic, you will start being successful. As long as you blame others for the reason you aren't where you want to be, you will always be a failure. Oh, I love that. I think that's so very true. We have a tendency to blame others, and then we don't fix our problems. Thank you so much for listening. You can find this on iTunes under the Philip Koerper Show, or SoundCloud, or at my website, philkoerper.com. Copyright 2018. You guys have a great day. Thanks.